The traditional view, which follows the biblical account, says that David and Solomon ruled a powerful kingdom in the 10th century.
Buried for millennia, an ancient text once dismissed as fragmented and indecipherable has finally been translated.
This is a king blessed with unparalleled wisdom and power. This is the man who bent demons to his will. And this is Solomon.
Unveiling revelations that challenge everything we thought we knew about King Solomon. Beyond the familiar legends of wisdom and wealth, this forbidden book portrays a ruler who commanded demons, wielded a celestial ring, and practiced rituals that blurred the line between the sacred and the forbidden. What if the first temple was not built by human hands alone? These discoveries promise to reshape our understanding of ancient history and perhaps reality itself. The Forbidden Manuscript Revealed. For centuries, scattered fragments of writings related to King Solomon's lore puzzled scholars, each piece a tantalizing glimpse into a shadowy past. These fragments appeared in diverse places: the Testament of Solomon, the Lesser Key, hidden magical papyri, and monastery archives untouched for generations. Until recently, these texts were assumed to be separate works, loosely connected but never fully understood. Then Grok AI entered the scene and changed everything by linking these pieces in ways human researchers never could. Line by line, symbol by symbol, Grok AI detected patterns crossing languages and centuries. Hebrew phrases echoing Greek manuscripts, Aramaic margin notes matching Latin footnotes, even damaged lines from locked monastic vaults syncing perfectly with medieval ciphers. Through cross-linguistic reconstruction, Grok revealed a startling truth. These were not disconnected writings, but fragments of one unified original manuscript. A single book, attributed to Solomon himself, deliberately dismantled, scattered, and encrypted to hide its powerful content. This forbidden book had never been just a metaphor. It was explicitly titled as such, reflecting its dangerous knowledge. For generations, the reasons behind its censorship remained a mystery. Scholars knew Solomon built the first temple, a feat extraordinary in scale and precision. Yet the construction methods defied logic for the era, hinting at something beyond mere human labor and technology. Grok's translation suggested that Solomon's methods were far more esoteric and far more unsettling than the legends told. Unlike many ancient magical texts that read like cryptic poetry, Solomon's forbidden book unfolds as an instruction manual of supernatural engineering. Human translators, limited by linguistic barriers, struggled with its complexity. But Grok AI's multi-language analysis unraveled the text's structure from Hebrew to Syriac, Latin to medieval codes, reconstructing missing parts with unparalleled precision based on vast linguistic data spanning 10,000 years. This feat solved a 3,000-year-old enigma that no human mind alone could have deciphered. What emerged from this translation was not only a revelation about Solomon's power, but a narrative that defied traditional history. The manuscript detailed a sovereign who mastered demons, spirits, and cosmic forces in ways that blur the line between myth and reality. It laid bare arcane knowledge that was sealed away for fear of its consequences, a cautionary tale hidden within an ancient king's annotations. And in doing so, it promised to rewrite the story of ancient spiritual authority forever. The forbidden manuscript serves as a bridge connecting biblical lore with a deeper, shadowed reality. It paints Solomon not just as a wise ruler, but as an architect of mystical forces who wielded control over an unseen empire of spirits. Grok's translation invites us to reconsider not only Solomon's legacy, but the broader mysteries of power, knowledge, and secrecy that ancient civilizations guarded so fiercely. The book's encryption and fragmentation tell a story of deliberate suppression, knowledge so potent it had to be scattered and hidden. The very act of piecing it back together uncovers centuries of fear and fascination as past custodians of the text tried to both preserve and neutralize its influence. This dynamic undercurrent transforms the manuscript from a relic into a living enigma. As startling as these discoveries are, they only set the stage for what comes next. The revelations about Solomon's famed ring and the supernatural hierarchy he commanded reveal a world of cosmic complexity where divine power and forbidden magic intersect. Knowing now that such a manuscript exists and has been decoded, one question looms large. What exactly did Solomon possess that granted him such unimaginable authority? Solomon's celestial ring. At the heart of Solomon's power, according to the forbidden text, lies a mysterious ring unlike any earthly artifact. This was no crafted jewel, no priestly consecration shaped it. Instead, the ring originated beyond the human realm, delivered by none other than Archangel Michael himself, in response to a desperate plea Solomon made during the temple's earliest days. The manuscript describes the temple's construction under constant nocturnal sabotage. A demon named Ornos haunted the work site, undoing progress and terrifying workers. Tools vanished, stones shifted, foundations cracked overnight, and the demon is said to have fed malevolently on a young laborer's vitality through his thumb. Traditional methods and commands failed against this invisible enemy. In his desperation, Solomon prayed fervently, not the scripted liturgies of Scripture, but a raw cry of fear and need. The vision that followed was overwhelming. Archangel Michael appeared as a terrifying force, radiant like molten metal, with a booming voice and a presence that weighed heavily like a storm pressing against stone. In his hand was the golden ring, pulsing with an alien light, inscribed with an unknown symbol. Michael's words bore both promise and warning. "Take this ring, Solomon, son of David. Wear it, and thou shalt bind all demons, and by their labor the temple shall rise." What seemed a divine gift carried an unspoken risk, much like a pact signed without fully reading the fine print. Solomon awoke to find the ring physically real, glittering in his palm, and wasted no time. He confronted Ornos directly, invoking the demon's true name and raising the ring as a binding tool. The invisible punisher was forced into manifest form, shackled on a celestial chain, powerless before Solomon's newfound authority. Instead of destroying the demon outright, Solomon made a bold and strategic move. He commanded Ornos to use the ring to capture other demons, building a cascading hierarchy of bound spirits. This unexpected tactic unleashed a supernatural network of control. Each demon was compelled to bind others, and Solomon soon stood before a legion of 72 spirits, each revealing names, functions, weaknesses, and their own ruling angels. The king was no longer merely a monarch. He had forged an infernal bureaucracy working under his command. These spirits were tasked with monumental labor, quarrying stones, transporting materials, refining metals, and building a temple beyond human capability. When idle, they shared secret wisdom on alchemy, hidden treasures, herbs, celestial movements, and even the invisible architecture of reality itself. This ring, extraordinary and dangerous, transformed Solomon's reign into a fusion of divine blessing and arcane mastery. Yet, this power came at a price. The text hints that Solomon's control was imperfect, and his curiosity increasingly perilous. He ventured into forbidden rituals beyond divine sanction, intoxicated by cosmic authority. This descent into dangerous magic likely led to the book's eventual banishment and concealment, a silent warning embedded within the manuscript's cryptic verses. Demonic hierarchy and labor. The 72 spirits Solomon commanded were no chaotic horde, but a complex, structured hierarchy. Far from shapeless shadows, these entities operated like a militarized government, organized into ranks resembling earthly nobility and command. Kings, dukes, princes, presidents, marquises, earls, and knights formed an elaborate chain of authority overseeing countless legions beneath them. The manuscript's meticulous detail reads almost like census data. Some kings commanded over 200 legions, while others controlled smaller forces, all accounted for with precision. Solomon's dedication to mapping this otherworldly realm spanned years, with the spirits interviewed carefully, like subjects in a detailed ethnographic study, rather than mythical demons to be feared blindly. Familiar names from occult lore appear alongside previously unknown beings, revealed only in damaged manuscript fragments decoded by Grok AI. For example, Baal, a great king with 3 heads, a man, a toad, and a cat, is said to grant invisibility and strategic wisdom. Solomon allegedly relied on him during tense diplomatic negotiations, anticipating betrayal through supernatural insight. Contrasting with warlike figures like Baal, others such as Fax embody creativity. A musician of celestial spheres who taught poetry, rhetoric, and cosmic harmonies. His presence may explain the legendary acoustics of Solomon's temple, where sound and vibration held sacred power. These spirits cover a spectrum of influence from the strategic to the artistic. Ian, described as a wolf with a serpent's tail who transforms into a man, held ancient knowledge, dubbed the Keeper of Forgotten Truths. He was a living archive of lost human history, interrogated by Solomon as a scholar desperate to preserve fading wisdom. The spirit's roles extended far beyond mere labor to guardianship of knowledge itself. Among these entities is Glacia Labolas, characterized as a genius and instigator of bloodshed, who could instantly teach any art or science, but reveled in turmoil. Solomon took great risks learning from such volatile beings, drawing on their expertise in metallurgy, military strategy, and even crowd psychology despite their dangerous natures. Grok's translation uncovered demons absent from surviving traditions, entities holding precise knowledge about star alignments, Earth's energy currents, and human psychological mechanisms. The depth of this catalog suggests Solomon was more than a practitioner of magic. He was a meticulous researcher documenting an entire supernatural ecosystem. The Forbidden Book portrays Solomon interviewing these beings with patient rigor, noting habits, dietary needs, and territorial domains, from desert winds to ruined cities and astral bodies. His notes resemble detailed field reports, forming an unprecedented guide to the invisible world that shaped his rule. This extensive hierarchy was not just a mystical curiosity, but a functional extension of Solomon's kingdom. The spirit's knowledge influenced every level of his reign, from secret diplomacy to sacred architecture, weaving together the seen and unseen in a web of cosmic power. The revelations about the celestial ring and the demon hierarchy only begin to scratch the surface of Solomon's forbidden legacy, hinting at an even deeper cosmic understanding forged through these supernatural alliances. Lost knowledge and cosmic secrets. The Forbidden Manuscript reveals that Solomon's story was about far more than construction or rulership. It was a deep dive into hidden knowledge that intertwined magic, science, and cosmology. The spirits he commanded imparted secrets on a range of disciplines: alchemy, the locations of hidden treasures, the nature of herbs, and the movement of the stars. These were not mere mystical musings, but precise insights that shaped the extraordinary power of his kingdom. Solomon's supernatural advisors taught him how the invisible structure of the universe worked, giving him leverage over forces imperceptible to ordinary people. The manuscript hints that his wisdom extended to geometry and sacred proportions, which influenced the temple's architecture to resonate with cosmic order. This transcendent blueprint made his construction not only a physical marvel, but a metaphysical one, tuned to celestial cycles and spiritual energy. Many of these teachings had practical applications. The demons explained the hidden properties of ores and metals, advancing techniques in metallurgy that likely benefited weaponry and craftsmanship. Others revealed knowledge about agriculture and medicine that could have boosted the health and prosperity of his people. Such knowledge would have given Solomon an unprecedented advantage in governance and diplomacy. Moreover, the grimoire describes spirits who understood human nature intimately, revealing rulers' fears, ambitions, and weaknesses. Solomon allegedly used this intelligence to destabilize rival nations diplomatically or through carefully orchestrated displays of wealth and influence. This kind of insight played a role far beyond the mystical. It was part of statecraft itself, blending occult wisdom with political strategy. Each demon created a personal seal, a meticulous geometric signature combining triangles, circles, Hebrew letters, planetary symbols, and mathematical ratios. These seals acted as cosmic summonses, forged at specific hours and with precise materials, anchoring each spirit's identity and authority. This complex semiotics bridged the earthly and the divine, allowing Solomon to exert real control. The text itself reads like an ancient compendium of the invisible, the closest humanity has ever come to a guidebook for the hidden world. Solomon spent years carefully documenting this strange hierarchy, unearthing secrets even he found astonishing. His meticulous notes elevate the grimoire beyond folklore into an unprecedented study of spiritual mechanics. Solomon's research extended into interrogating these entities with scholarly patience, cataloging everything from their realms and elemental associations to their vulnerabilities and expertise in arts and sciences. This scientific approach to spiritual beings suggests a ruler who viewed magic not only as power, but as knowledge to be understood and applied. The forbidden manuscript's revelations show that Solomon harnessed this cosmic intelligence in nearly every corner of his domain. He was able to outmaneuver enemies, negotiate with uncanny foresight, and command forces beyond the grasp of ordinary kings. This hidden wisdom eclipsed mere legend, painting a portrait of a king whose mastery was as much intellectual as it was supernatural. All this knowledge underscores one painful truth. Solomon's power was a fusion of divine blessing and forbidden science, a precarious balance that demanded reverence and caution. The depth of his secret wisdom hints at the cosmic stakes involved in wielding such forces. The secrets Solomon uncovered did not stop at knowledge, but extended into a profound understanding of the universe itself, a multi-layered reality far beyond everyday perception. The multidimensional universe. According to the forbidden text, Solomon's demons revealed a universe far more complex than a simple physical plane. They described existence as composed of multiple layers or dimensions, each vibrating at different frequencies, much like strings on an unseen cosmic instrument. The physical world, the one humans inhabit and perceive, is actually the slowest, heaviest, and densest vibration of them all. Beyond this tangible level, spiritual realms exist that are faster, finer, and less constrained by physical laws. These overlapping planes occupy the same space, akin to radio stations broadcasting simultaneously, but one only tunes into the frequency they perceive. This layered reality explains phenomena often dismissed or misunderstood, including angels, demons, elemental spirits, and mysterious entities that move through these higher vibrations. The manuscript pinpointed specific thin places in geographic locations where these dimensions come perilously close, allowing for more direct contact between worlds. Certain times of year, planetary alignments and ritual conditions can further weaken the barriers. At these moments, the veil is described as trembling, as if the entire fabric of reality is momentarily thin enough to glimpse or cross. Solomon, driven by insatiable curiosity, seized these insights and didn't shy away from probing the laws governing these realms. He asked the spirits detailed questions about physics without time, the behavior of form without matter, and communication beyond words. These laws of the unseen, he gathered, enrich ancient metaphysics that far predate modern scientific inquiry. This cosmic cartography reveals a universe where spaces invisible to humans are as real and structured as the physical one. The spirits served as eyewitnesses to this hidden machinery, mapping out its rules, forces, and limitations with precision. Solomon's efforts were less about magic and more about becoming a cosmic researcher. The Forbidden Book suggests that the temple itself was no mere shrine, but a precision-engineered portal complex positioned atop a natural dimensional nexus. The measurements, materials, layout of chambers, and sequence of sacred rituals were designed to stabilize interaction between the physical and higher realms. The Holy of Holies, the temple's innermost chamber, played a dual role, housing the Ark of the Covenant, but also anchoring the vibrational alignment necessary for dimensional crossing. This explains why only the high priest could enter the Holy of Holies, and only once a year. The concentrated spiritual energy there was so intense it could shatter the mind of any unprepared visitor. The Ark was more than a sacred object. It was a technological stabilizer, engineered to keep the dimensional veil intact during rituals. Its materials, dimensions, and contents all served a cosmic purpose beyond human understanding. Even more startling is the manuscript's revelation that humans are naturally multidimensional beings. Our consciousness extends beyond the physical brain, brushing against other realms unknowingly through dreams, intuition, or the eerie sensation of being watched. Solomon learned to develop spirit sight, the ability to perceive these entities and dimensions clearly, not as blessings, but as a dangerous skill requiring training and discipline. The demons also issued stern warnings. Reckless or unprepared spiritual contact risks madness, fragmentation of self, or worse. Some encountered entities crossing over permanently with them. Others paid a psychic price. This caution imbues the text with a somber tone, highlighting the peril intertwined with forbidden knowledge. Solomon's quest to understand and harness this multidimensional reality fueled a visionary legacy that extended beyond his temporal reign, shaping the very architecture of spiritual and cosmic understanding. Temple's true purpose. The Forbidden Manuscript portrays Solomon's temple as far more than a grand religious structure. It was a carefully engineered portal complex built on a naturally thin spot in the fabric of reality. The measurements, materials, and architectural layout were meticulously designed to stabilize contact between the physical world and the higher spiritual realms that envelop it. This sacred nexus created a bridge that allowed movement, under precise conditions, across multiple dimensions. Central to this design was the Holy of Holies, the temple's most sacred chamber. While it housed the legendary Ark of the Covenant, its function extended beyond symbolism.
As retold for thousands of years, the Ark of the Covenant is a holy relic from 1000 BCE, kind of like a box covered in gold. Carried by the Israelites for 40 years,
the Ark served as a dimensional stabilizer, anchoring the spiritual and physical vibrations so closely aligned that a prepared human could cross the threshold. Its materials and intricate construction worked like an ancient technology to prevent the collapse of the veil separating worlds. This carefully balanced energy explains the strict limitations on access. Only the high priest could enter the Holy of Holies, and only once a year during Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the year for the Jewish people. This is the time of year when most Jews show up for services. To prepare, during the days before the holiday, people make amends and ask forgiveness from their family and friends.
For anyone else, the overwhelming concentration of spiritual energy could cause mental shattering or worse. The temple was not simply a center of worship. It was a gateway risking both enlightenment and destruction, depending on one's readiness. The text suggests the Ark's power was not metaphorical or symbolic, but technological in form, crafted with materials and dimensions that served a functional purpose forgotten by modern understanding. This challenges conventional notions of ancient religious artifacts and raises questions about early human knowledge of multidimensional science. Beyond the temple itself, the manuscript reveals that humans are naturally multidimensional beings. Our consciousness, it claims, extends into unseen realms, yet most remain unaware due to lack of training or teaching. Dreams, intuition, and moments of profound connection may be glimpses into these other layers of reality, where spiritual energies and entities reside alongside our physical existence. Solomon reportedly developed what the demons called spirit sight, a dangerous but learnable skill that allowed him to see across dimensions and interact with spiritual beings as clearly as with human courtiers. This ability was not a mystical gift, but a hard-earned talent, requiring discipline and caution. Without proper preparation, such vision risked madness, fragmentation, or permanent crossing of thresholds, leading to unknown consequences. The consequences of unprepared contact were dire enough that the text repeatedly issues warnings against reckless spiritual exploration. The risks included possession by entities, loss of self, or other forms of existential harm. Such cautions reflect a nuanced understanding that forbidden knowledge carries not only power, but profound peril. This understanding reshapes the temple from a mere place of worship into a hub of metaphysical experimentation, a spiritual laboratory where cosmic laws were studied and applied. Solomon's reign, as revealed here, was as much a quest for universal understanding as it was a demonstration of earthly kingship. Such revelations deepen the mystique of Solomon's temple, elevating its purpose beyond tangible construction to a cosmic interface, a place where human, divine, and otherworldly forces converged under a fragile truce maintained by sacred engineering and ritual. The technological and spiritual precision of Solomon's temple shaped not only ancient worship, but also seeded ideas that would permeate secret societies and mystical traditions for millennia to come. Legacy and hidden influence. The influence of Solomon's forbidden knowledge extends far beyond ancient times, weaving itself into the fabric of secret societies, ceremonial magic, and esoteric traditions that endure today. Perhaps the most recognizable symbol is Freemasonry, which, while not invoking demons or Solomonic seals, grounds its entire structure both literally and symbolically in Solomon's temple. Masonic rituals frame members as allegorical builders working under Solomon's mythic guidance, seeking to construct an inner temple of wisdom and self-improvement. Freemasonry elevates Solomon not simply as a historical figure, but as the archetype of hidden wisdom and the perfect philosopher-architect. His temple serves as a universal metaphor for spiritual growth, where each tool and ritual is imbued with allegorical meaning drawn from ancient Solomonic philosophy. This mythic foreman status preserves Solomon's legacy, long after the physical temple itself vanished beneath the sands of time. Beyond Masonry, the ceremonial magic tradition borrowed heavily from Solomonic methods, often transparently so. Groups such as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn integrated Solomonic seals, demon and angel hierarchies, invocation structures, and protective circles directly into their rites. When these adepts summoned spiritual intelligences, they were continuing a practice Solomon allegedly perfected 3 millennia earlier. Modern occultism, from the Renaissance through today, continues to employ Solomonic frameworks, even as names and rituals evolve. The blueprint Solomon laid down remains unmistakably present in ritual magic, shaping the geometry, symbolism, and cosmology of arcane traditions. This surviving DNA links ancient priest-king to contemporary practitioners in a continuous, if secretive, lineage. Many serious occult texts reveal diagrams and symbols reminiscent of Solomonic grimoires. Circles, sigils, planetary correspondences, angelic names, and astrological charts all echo patterns first catalogued in Solomon's writings. He didn't just influence magic. He defined its very geometry and language. Ideas such as spirits, corresponding to planets, seals encoding metaphysical contracts, and sacred names altering spiritual resonance flow from the Solomonic current. The impact of Solomon's teachings extends even further into New Age systems, planetary invocations, astrology-based rituals, and energy work. These diverse practices share an unseen thread back to the king who cataloged demons like a librarian of cosmic secrets. Among mystical philosophies, Kabbalah perhaps reflects Solomonic echoes most clearly.
The Goetia is essentially the shadow book of what's called the Shem HaMefaresh, the 72-fold name of God. In other words, Solomon's demonic list is a dark inversion of divine power.
With its layered realities, angelic hierarchies, coded speech, and symbolic architecture. Solomon's hidden teachings also carved a psychological map of human consciousness centuries before modern psychology existed. Ritual structure, symbolic architecture, and encoded metaphors shaped ideas of the mind's complexity. Concepts like inner demons, shadow work, and building the inner temple trace their lineage directly to Solomonic philosophy. Modern mysticism owes much to this ancient framework. Despite centuries of reinterpretation and adaptation, the question remains, did Solomon truly command real entities, or did later generations blend myth, metaphor, and history into something far stranger? The blend of spiritual, magical, and historical elements in the manuscript continues to challenge scholars and believers alike. Solomon's legacy, as newly translated, invites us to reconsider our history and traditions. Whether seen as forbidden science, spiritual insight, or mythic allegory, his story endures as a foundation for many paths seeking hidden knowledge. Censorship and suppression. The Forbidden Manuscript's journey through history is a story of not only preservation, but intense censorship and suppression. As the text's implications became clear, powerful religious authorities saw it as a threat. The grimoires didn't just portray Solomon as a divinely favored king, they revealed repeatable techniques for commanding demons, suggesting magic was a method accessible to any trained practitioner, not a miracle reserved for the chosen. This threatened the established gatekeepers of spiritual power, the priests and church officials. Monks and scribes who copied the manuscript often left nervous notes in the margins, recording fears, warnings, and even deliberately altering the text. Demon names were swapped with subtle symbols, rituals rearranged or omitted, and magical seals intentionally distorted, rotated, mirrored, or given missing lines. These changes were designed to neutralize the power of the text, preventing readers from accidentally or intentionally invoking dangerous forces. It was a strategic, multi-layered censorship that evolved over centuries. Chronological alterations further disrupted the manuscript's continuity, breaking the flow of Solomon's training instructions to make the system harder to reconstruct. Despite these efforts, complete suppression proved impossible. Knowledge, especially forbidden knowledge, has a way of slipping away. Hidden copies survived, and fragments were encoded into emerging mystical traditions. Jewish mystics incorporated elements into early Kabbalah. Islamic scholars preserved certain passages intact, and alchemists smuggled fragments across Europe. The rise of the printing press in the 17th century shattered secrecy, turning esoteric knowledge into widely available texts. Works like the Lesser Key of Solomon introduced Solomonic magic to a broader public. Although the church responded with bans, censorship, and public warnings, the genie was out of the bottle. Solomon's system re-entered the world, transforming clandestine traditions and occult practices, many of which still carry echoes of his teachings. Grok AI's recent translation reveals the full pattern of this centuries-long battle, a story of fear and fascination, preservation and suppression. It unmasks the lengths to which institutions went to contain the knowledge's power and maintain religious and social control, while unwillingly allowing the forbidden book's legacy to endure in secret. This cyclical tension between revelation and concealment underscores why Solomon's grimoire never truly died. It was both buried and alive, locked away and yet leaking through history in coded forms, allegories, and mystical disciplines. The manuscript's resilience testifies to the enduring human hunger for hidden knowledge and the dangers perceived to accompany it. The text's survival complicates the traditional narrative of religious authority by suggesting that spiritual access was not solely a divine prerogative, but a technique that could be learned and mastered. This knowledge challenged foundational assumptions about power, faith, and control, threatening to dismantle hierarchical structures based on exclusive spiritual legitimacy. The legacy of Solomon's forbidden book, reshaped, renamed, and reinterpreted through the ages, became embedded in Western occultism, secret lodges, mystical movements, and philosophical systems, often unaware that they carry fragments of Solomonic DNA. Its influence permeates far beyond the dusty pages of history into the rituals and worldviews of modern spirituality. Despite centuries of suppression, the forbidden knowledge speaks to a deeper question. Should such power remain hidden, or is humanity finally ready to confront the truths Solomon recorded 3,000 years ago? The manuscript's revival by Grok AI opens this question anew, forcing us to reckon with the delicate balance between enlightenment and peril. Beyond institutional censorship, fear among ordinary readers also played a role in the manuscript's obscurity. Accounts from later centuries describe scholars who abandoned their studies after experiencing vivid dreams, psychological disturbances, or what they believed were spiritual repercussions tied to reading corrupted versions of the text. Whether these reactions were psychosomatic, symbolic, or something more unsettling, they reinforced the belief that the knowledge carried consequences. Over time, the manuscript developed a reputation not just as forbidden, but as inherently dangerous, something to be studied cautiously, if at all. Modern scholars now view this pattern of fear, distortion, and survival as evidence of the manuscript's profound cultural impact, rather than proof of its literal power. The very act of sustained suppression suggests that authorities believed ideas themselves could destabilize societies if left unchecked. In this sense, Solomon's grimoire became less about demons and rituals, and more about who controls knowledge, how truth is managed, and why certain narratives are allowed to persist while others are buried. Its endurance forces us to confront an uncomfortable reality. The most powerful forces in history may not be armies or empires, but ideas deemed too dangerous to be freely known. We've uncovered how Solomon's forbidden book, recently translated by Grok AI, reveals a hidden world of cosmic power, spiritual hierarchies, and ancient technologies. Its secrets challenge everything we thought we knew about history and magic. If you found this journey into the unknown fascinating, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries.